The Institute of Risk Management South Africa has warned of possible dire economic consequences from the planned national shutdown set to take place across South Africa on Wednesday. The Institute says that the envisaged national shutdown, featuring the country's biggest trade union federations, would have a detrimental effect on an already weak economy. Crippling protest action has been announced by two of South Africa's most prominent trade union federations, Saftu and Cosatu, as they rally against the rising fuel and food prices tomorrow.
Saftu is calling on residents to stand against the rising cost of living by joining its strike. The Labour Federation says the planned national strike is meant to defend the working class. The shutdown in Gauteng is expected to start with a night vigil on Tuesday ahead of a march to the union buildings.
We want government to regulate and to cap petrol prices, diesel and paraffin increases. We want them to subsidize the taxi industry in the same way as the private bus industry receives subsidy.
According to Saftu, the buying power of the working class has significantly declined over the years. It's attributed this to rising electricity tariffs, interest rate hikes, and below-inflation wage increases. Saftu warns that the unemployment levels could breach the 50% mark when Stats SA releases the unemployment figures.
We want to address the crisis in the health, to stop budget cuts, to employ more healthcare workers, to invest in and to address the infrastructure backlogs, and to introduce national health insurance.
Saftu says the protest is also against the privatization of state-owned enterprises and the unbundling of Eskom. It's concerned that privatization could create a monopoly of price makers who are driven by profits. Mbalenhle Mthethwa, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Cosatu General Secretary BHEKI NTSHALINTSHALI joins us now for a little bit more on this. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you very much, and good evening to you and to your listeners at home.
This national shutdown, we've just heard from the Institute of Risk Managers who said that this shutdown might have dire consequences. Is that something that you factored in, or you don't believe that there will be consequences to this shutdown?
There has to be consequences, otherwise we will not have been going to a protest action if we believe it will not have consequences. The intention is to really prickle the nerves of those that in the control of the economy, as well as those in government. They were making a wake-up call, so there will be consequences.
All right, so consequences in terms of provoking action, but there could be consequences as well with businesses that can't afford to shut down, feeling the effects of a weakening economy, and that some of the people that are going to be marching tomorrow may not have a job next month.
With or without the question of marches, there will be people without jobs, considering that people are being retrenched every day. In the last 2 years, there were no marches, but 2 million people lost their jobs. So we don't buy the issues of raising consciousness of everybody should be, instilling fear that we should not do this thing. This is a right that was negotiated by both business and government and labor, that when things are not moving in the right direction, workers should have the right to protest. And this is not a strike. This is a protest action in a limited way, because we're talking about one day to raise the consciousness of everybody in the society, to have a discussion about these issues. When 10 million people are unemployed, is something that everybody should be concerned about, because it poses a political instability. It poses that there are people who are dying of hunger. So those who are working and those that are in business, they need to pause, in our view, and to reflect. This is a societal issue. This is not just a trade union space.
All right, so we know what you're marching about, but who are you marching against? Who do you blame for this that you're trying to provoke action from?
It's both government and business. Business is on investment strike that is not disputed anymore, that business are not investing. And if local business are not investing, how would one expect foreign investment to come to South Africa? So we're making a call to them. We have now pushed government to an extent that there is an agreement to review Regulation 28 so that we can be able to use even workers' money to invest in the local economy. So we've made that call. I think we're progressing well. So business has to also put money in terms of what they call it an impact investment. So that was one hand to businesses. But we're calling to government to make policies that will allow, for an example, one of the most critical area which prevent job creation is the lack of energy security supply. We said we needed to invest, ESCOM, and invest speedily. So government has now to really elaborate on what they are promising as about the intervention in the ESCOM. We needed to know how much money they're putting in ESCOM to renew its fleet, and how long it's going to take in dealing with those things, how to relax the procurement to allow ESCOM to buy the parts that they need, and we don't have time. So it's both business and the private sector that we're calling upon to really reflect and be able to intervene.
All right, just to be clear, are you saying that poor government policies are contributing significantly to the malaise that we're finding ourselves in?
Indeed, as everybody knows now, why ESCOM is in this dire situation is because government refused to take the advice of ESCOM management by then to invest in ESCOM. Had they taken that decision and not to be preoccupied by privatization, will be in a different way as we speak. So there are government policies that are not working for us. We indicated when the NDP was adopted that both the macroeconomic and the labor market chapters of the NDP will not work. We'll laugh at today, government is conceding that the target they set it up in the NDP will never be achieved. But instead of reviewing it, they still sing the same song and hope they'll get something different. It won't work.
Right. Now, the government is run by the ANC, your tripartite alliance partner. Are you on a collision course with the ANC if they don't listen to you?
Not only now. I mean, we have said all the times that when the ANC do good, we will be the first to celebrate. But when they are doing something bad, we will also go to the street and march against the ANC. That's what also Mandela said long time ago in addressing the Cosatu Congress, that when the ANC leaders don't listen, you must do, and you must be on the street. And that's why Mandela, in his also wisdom, agreed with us that we must set up NETLEC and agree that all socio-economic policies should be negotiated in NETLEC. So it's not a new thing that Cosatu will at times disagree with the ANC vehemently. And we're doing that. There's nothing new about us. Our members knows that.
Things are getting worse. If we look at the unemployment rate, the economy, all the social indicators, which means that they continue to fail you on an increasing level. Will they ever get to a point where you say enough is enough?
We take our mandate from our members. We're going to the Congress this year. Our members will be able to evaluate as to whether we'll vote the ANC in the next coming election. That will be the debate by the Congress. By the way, Cosatu has never took a decision that forever or permanently would vote for the ANC. We said every time there's an election, Cosatu will reflect, Cosatu will go to its members and get a mandate and then decide accordingly.
All right. People are looking to this and they see you joining hands with Saftu. Should we read anything into this? Is there a love back happening here?
We don't know. I mean, we was going to see as an outcome. Our view is that when we take this decision, we never consulted anybody about the plight that we're having. Our members are feeling it on the ground, and we've been making the call to anybody, whether it's Saftu, Fedusa, anybody that is affected by this development in our economy, and we're calling the society to debate and to contribute in whatever way they do. So should it be leading to some kind of unit of workers in the future? Well and good.
General Secretary, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much indeed for joining us, and hopefully we'll catch up with you tomorrow after the protest action. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's the Cosatu General Secretary, BHEKI NTSHALINTSHALI, talking to us about the nationwide shutdown which is planned for tomorrow across the country. And we'll keep on top of that story for you. Stay with us. You're watching The Globe.